Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting for the city of San Juan at 6 p.m. May we rise for invocation. No, we have Pastor Nuno. Can you lead us, sir? Thank you.
Lord, we praise your name. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to come before you and dedicate this meeting to you. We pray, Lord, that we have your wisdom operating among us, Father, and be able to do great things for our community, for our people. Bless everyone here, Father. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Raise the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. No public comments at this time? No.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening, staff, community members. The first item on the agenda, we have presentations, update on the new City of San Juan Transit Terminal Building, which is the City Hall. Today we have Mr. Oscar Cancino here to give us a presentation on that, or an update.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good afternoon, sir.
I've got a presentation on the ongoing project, of course known as the City Hall, but more so as a transit terminal. You have an item further on in the for resolution. I'll start there. Of course, that was grouped together for the approvals of the resolutions. That's needed to move forward with the project, to start the funding allocation process from the funding entity, which is the Federal Transit Administration. With that in hand, they can then begin the release of funds to start the project. Before this, we were waiting on the approval for the environmental document, of course, the right-of-way appraisal that was done for the in-kind contribution, and other various documents that outline milestones, deliverables, and a sequence of how the project would be managed. Of course, the city has gone through that process. That's been submitted. It's been approved. Now we're on the next step of getting the committal from the actual city to the funding agency, and that includes the sale of bonds, which was done here previously. So in moving forward, once we get this part of the way of the resolution, we'll then move forward for the transfer of funds and then outline the interlocal agreement. And the way that would then come about would be to start the reimbursement process. So you don't wait for the construction. Typically, you wait until construction, start getting reimbursed from the program. Here, this way, we could actually start getting reimbursed up front as we move forward in procuring the professional services and go into the bidding and the construction process. So that'll be the next step after this, which would be to enter into agreement, which is the interlocal. Once it gets approved, then we can move forward with actually having the exchanges with the funding entity, which is, in this case, it's Valley Metro, but through by way of the Federal Transit Administration, which is the 5307 program that the grant got approved under. But other than that, we've cleared then the environmental. They've approved the in-kind for the property. There's a remaining amount of contribution of $235,000. So that will help cover and offset the 80-20 match, which is a total of $2.4 million for the project. And understand there's additional monies that are going to be committed, but that, as far as project controls towards the project with the agency, that is what we're looking at. And again, I recommend approval further on of the resolution to move forward with the funding part or mechanism of the project.
So how soon, Mr. Cancino, as far as once we get all this squared away, going out for the RFQs for I'm assuming the architect and all that.
We had worked on a draft that we've sent to the funding agency on the procurement. That of course needs the FTA review from the procurement officer. So to not kind of hold back, that was going on in the process. But one of the things they do need is make sure that the city has the funds to move forward before they approve that. So within the next 30 days, I would say would get approval for that and then start the procurement process. And then after that, it would be up to you all as a city commission to decide how you would want to then develop the project, either There's various options. Of course, there's design build, CMAR, or design bid build process. Of course, that would be presented then at that time as far as what are the options from the funding entity that they would approve. And of course, any one of those could be implemented. One of the things that, in speaking with the director, with Mr. Logan, he did advise, and we're trying to take advantage of the summer weeks here when some of the folks are available, to do a field visit to two particular transit projects that are going on. One's been completed, one's in the process of getting wrapped up. But that would be within the city of Edinburgh and then in Brownsville area. That would help you get an idea as to what we can look forward to. Of course, it has a component of the city hall, but more so, of course, the leveraging of those funds is to have a transit component to it. Of course, lessons learned would be to go visit it, see what you all would like. That way, in the procurement or as we develop the project further, you could then, have certain expectations as to what you would like to see in this new facility. So it's upcoming. We'll send out that as an invite, and of course, we'll be coordinating that with Valley Metro and their staff.
So what would be more or less the estimated time that this whole project would be completed?
We're looking at about, let's say, within, now that basically everything's been shifted because of the setbacks that we had with the feds on the government shutdowns. That really affected it because it came in during the holidays and it just took a while to ramp up. But having said that, it shifts our project about 3 months into what we had first thought of. But again, you could easily do other items concurrently. For example, on the procurement end, what we thought we could go out and go through the whole procurement process. Under the initial procurement for the project management, we can accelerate it. We can present that to the funding agency, and then we can go a little bit quicker on the selection. That's one option, or go again with the design build option, where you could then vastly improve the time frame on that. But for right now, to engage and move forward and actually start seeing the actual design and construction process going on, we're looking at the next 30 to 60 days. Again, we still have to get the intergovernmental agreement prep. So that I'll be preparing and exchanging with the city manager and city attorney, that we have that ready beforehand. And again, in there, we'll actually outline the draws, the actual amounts that will be utilized or expected to. That way the city is not out early on in the project and we get that exchange. One of the important things in doing so is, again, with any construction project, any facility, you have a lot of upfront costs. So for the city to actually then have that on reserve and not wait for the reimbursement is very tough, because you have to then pay out and then get reimbursed later. So one of the advantages to getting the reimbursements up front for the smaller services, you already have that in hand, that exchange. So we would work with finance. We have developed the what we call the project dashboard. We developed that early on in the project. That's going to allow city finance, myself as your consultant, and the finance entity to work together and having the proper documentation that we need as to keep the records for the project as required. So that we can utilize for upfront for the development and also for the construction aspect. And that the city or even the public could have access to through what we call the window dashboard. It gives the status, the current outgoings, and reports on as to what's going on. So we hope to update once we enter into agreement, update that and make it available. And of course, that'll serve as a through the public involvement process.
Any questions for Mr. at this time? No? No? You okay?
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, now that Mr. Consino is here, we can change the order of the day to move into the resolution. We only got one item. So, are you okay with that? Consider and approve the resolution to establish support between the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council and the City of San Juan for the City of San Juan Transit Terminal Project. Attached with the agenda, there's the resolution, and pretty much he just went over it.
And that is on line item which one?
Contractual resolutions, number 9, item A.
Oh, okay, I got you. Right here in the bottom. Okay. Okay, with that being said, is there any questions in regards to this line item under the resolutions A? If not, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Going back to presentations. Item B, presentation of monthly departmental reports. Tonight we have Planning and Zoning Department, Sanitation Departments, and Juan Memorial Library, and Parks and Recreation Department. Those four departments are already available. Should you have any questions?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Escobar, it's not a question based on your report, but I know we spoke about the shades or the carports with this heat. I mean, it's unbearable sometimes to get into our vehicles. We have to kind of cool them down for a few minutes before we can even drive away. But there's been a lot of requests for those type of shades or carports in certain neighborhoods that apparently are not within the
Yeah.
establishment date.
There's an
was
ordinance that they
adopted.
adopted.
Right.
If it's an older subdivision, they're allowed, but currently they have to meet the 20-foot setback in the front of
Correct.
the
So I
property.
don't know if anybody on the commission would agree with me so that we can go ahead and have them look into options that we can back to the commission as far as allowing those shaded areas, those carport areas for those residents that don't have. Right? Exactly.
I'm for going ahead and look into other
We can
options.
look, yeah, we can look into that.
Some of the problems we have are, if you add more structures, there's gonna be more construction on that lot, so you can get more rain runoff that will go to your neighbors, and those are some of the things that's why there is those setbacks, but we can look into that.
Por favor.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Then, Mr. Garza, on your report, I know you've been showing us numbers as far as contacts and complaints. What are you referring to when you list those as far as complaints about that you're receiving about our department or complaints that you're receiving about? Mhm.
Basically concerns over stuff that is happening in their neighborhood. So we send our compliance officer out there to,
Not necessarily regarding your department as
No.
complaints about your personnel. Okay.
it's more addressing their concerns.
And I also didn't, maybe you did, but I didn't see it, include the neighborhood meeting that you had last month in your report. Was it on there?
Included in one of them. I think it's included in the back, I think. I remember seeing it.
If it's on there, I'll go back and,
Yeah, I said, one neighborhood meeting, I think you mentioned one.
with good turnout?
Well, we got rained out.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
Well, the weather wasn't cooperating.
Okay. I was on vacation, that's
The
why I'm asking.
residents that did show up did like the idea, they liked the concept,
Mhm.
and would like for that to continue.
And that's where I was leading. I mean, this is something that we're gonna be doing in other neighborhoods,
Planning the next one before the end of July.
end of July?
Yes, sir.
What side of town, Mr. Garza?
We're looking at the north, east side of town, the Lucky Seven area.
Oh, okay, good, good. Okay.
From Ms. Bingham. On your report, you mentioned issues with the pavilion that had been addressed. What issues were you?
There were just some minor maintenance issues, electrical, cleaning up. That area seems to be, we get hit quite often in that area. whether Vandalizing, and I put pavilions, but I should have put pavilion/restrooms,
Oh, okay.
because those restrooms too get vandalized quite a bit. So we have to get a little creative with, we want to keep it open and we want it to be available to the community, but there are certain times of the day when we do have to close them, because if we leave it open too long. Just today, we had an incident out there where they pretty much, we had to call PD and address the issue, but, we're trying to be creative with keeping it open to the public, but at the same time, keeping it free from vandalization and stuff like that.
And another concern, flagpole here at the Veteran Park. We had a huge flagpole. We used to fly that huge flag And I bring it up because I know
Yes.
during the 4th of July, it was one of the events that we
Yes.
usually flew that flag. And the pole is not there anymore. I just,
No, right now, we're in the process. That park has been maintained by Mr. Sean. He's here today in the
Okay.
audience. We're in the process of getting it deeded over to the city where we take full control. But going back to that pole, there was a very big pole, and it was kind of, how do I explain it? It took a lot to maintain it and to get that flag. It was a very, very big flag, and we're having troubles, and Mr. Sean was having troubles bringing it down and getting it back up. And basically, the pole was getting to a point where it was needing a lot of maintenance. So the plan for right now was to replace it. I think there's a statue there right now.
right.
But the plan is to replace it with a smaller, more manageable pole, with a flag that's still going to be a good size, but yet more manageable for staff to be able to handle. Because it would take a good 3 or 4 guys to handle bringing it up, but we're having maintenance issues with the pole.
Oh.
So in order to avoid any injury or anything, out of the ordinary, the decision was made to remove it for now, replace it with a statue, and in the near future to replace it with a more manageable size, something like at the car dealers, something of that size. So, yes, sir.
Ms. Enriquez, on your report, municipal court, detailed report, you show of course the comparison from 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019. There's some numbers at the bottom next to the judges' names. What do those numbers reflect? Oh, okay, those are the arenas? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have, ma'am.
On, Mayor, may I?
Go ahead, sir, yes, sir.
I'd like to correct myself, Mr. Ramirez. On the event, it was a cleanup event. It was not the
Not the
main
meeting
event.
one.
No, it was
Oh,
not.
okay.
So you stand correct. On those events, I'd like for the police and fire to be involved. I know some questions also involved the police and fire. And I'd like for, when we have an event like that, for all the department heads to be involved also, along with several police officers and firefighters, so we can actually see representing their respectful departments. Also on the brush pickup, Mr. Garza, are we on schedule or where are we at on that?
Southwest quadrant, be here to the 15th, sir. All the residents in the southwest quadrant have to the 15th to have their brush out and picked up by then. And then we'll go over to the southeast quadrant.
We're on schedule finally, correct?
I'm sorry? Yes, sir. And starting Monday, we'll have 3 grapple trucks out there.
Good deal. Okay, that's all I have.
Mr. Willingham, in reference to, I know that we had several baseball teams going up to go play. Are we pretty much, got all that situated?
Yes. It's all situated. We're 2 teams are going to be traveling next week. We have our 10U girls traveling to Youngsville, Louisiana, and we have our 9U boys traveling to Deer Park. The following week, our 10U boys will be going back to Deer Park. So in all this summer, we have 3 teams traveling, 2 to the South Zone Championships, which are the 2 baseball teams. The girls finished 3rd at regionals, and they're going to be competing in the World Series in Youngsville. Tomorrow and Thursday, here at the PSJ Stadium, our kids, 241 athletes representing San Juan, will be competing at the regional, the TAF, Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, regional meet. It starts tomorrow at 8 a.m., run all day, and also Thursday. The older kids run tomorrow, the younger ones will run on Thursday. That is for an opportunity to qualify to the Games of Texas, which will take place in 2 weeks in College Station. I'm sorry? Tomorrow and Thursday here at PSJ. So 241 athletes is what we registered for track and field.
Any other questions for the directors?
I can go back real quick, Mayor, just to follow up on those teams, baseball and softball teams. If we can have them recognized, maybe 2 or 3 at a time, because I know some of them are already out, so they're not playing anymore.
Correct.
We won't have
Oh, okay.
5, 6, 7.
No problem. Yes. I'll bring them. We'll plan to get them in.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before we move on, I'd just like to say, in reference to all the directors, that was a very, very beautiful event we had for 4th of July. Actually, it was July 3rd. I got a lot of good compliments. We saw that, the citizens out there saw that everyone's coming together, and I know you guys walked the streets and giving out, little gadgets to our kids and stuff like that. And I just want to say thank you so much for being part of this festival, and I know there's more coming down the pipeline, but thank you for participating. It means a lot to the commission and more to the citizens of San Juan. So once again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Also, I want to thank Ruben Guajardo for assisting in the meetings for the 4th of July. You all had everything in place. It's a good job you all did. Also, Ramiro, I believe, also that was there with you. My compliments to you guys. You all did a great job. Mr. Willingham also. I know that it's all the departments that took part of it, but specifically you guys did real good. We had a lot of compliments, like the mayor says, people that even out of town that they have never seen something like that on a city, on a small city like this. Usually everybody refers to go to McAllen and stuff like that, but this was a great success, and I compliment you guys on that.
And if you guys can probably agree with me, it's growing. Every year it's getting bigger and bigger. So
God, from beginning to end, from what we saw being involved in this festival, it was tremendous. And what I mean from beginning to end, everybody in the department, every single one of y'all and your departments, you just saw it since from when it started to the end. It was a great event, and there was so many compliments being thrown out there. I mean, everybody was sharing food, bring your own barbecue pit, that kind of thing, sharing food. It looked like a community, and it looked like something that we're gonna grow on and stuff. So there was not one bad thing to say about it at all. It was nothing but success. So congratulations to all you guys.
One other thing, so you guys, are we ready for Noche de Paz?
In there. We're getting there.
We'll get there, guys.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may just say just one more thing. Also, I'd like to compliment some of the staff that, well, pretty much everybody, like you said, but some of the ones that were actually working on the float. This is the first time we have a float at the parade, and it was done in-house. We had the staff from sanitation, or was it parks, putting it together, both actually, and then we had Ms. Cordero painting. She doesn't know anything about painting, but she was there painting, as well as Ms. Diana Cavazos. We had the assistant finance director painting and then putting some effort on that. So yes, it was everybody coming together, putting something nice. This is just the first float of many more to come. So again, thank you all for your good help and support, dedication to our staff.
thank you for being involved in the Dunkin' Booth. So many times.
That goes for you too, David.
Oh, David got done.
Yeah.
Hey, you should have seen Chief.
To add that, there was a lot of participation, yes. There was a lot of participation within our employees, and I think that means good vibes for our community, because they actually see you guys getting the grease. Chief, you didn't become a chief, you became a Dunkin' doll for a while, and it looked like everybody took advantage of that. But honestly, for you guys to get involved within our community, that means a lot to the community itself, and to know who you guys really are. They see you guys behind the scenes, and it's always on a serious note. When you get involved, entwined with the community, it means a whole lot to them, I can guarantee you. And I know we missed Mr. Ramirez here at the time. He had a death in the family, and I apologize for that. But I'd like to let him know that we represented the city well on his behalf, and we received a flag on his behalf also, as a commission. And deepest condolences to you and your family, sir. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, I know Commissioner Ramirez touched up on that, but it's a municipal court report. If you have any questions on that particular report, Ms. Enriquez is here to answer, or I can answer some of those questions.
On the code enforcement report now, I see here that these, I mean, obviously there's violations, right? My question to you is have we collected any monies in regards to that? And I'm talking about the, just strictly for code enforcement. So we have 2 or 3. We have 2.
That one that's pre-warned, so it could either be fined or clean up remove the tax because it's a residential vehicle.
So actually, you said we only have 3 for code enforcement, or we have had more? For the month? And that's from May and June? Okay. So, okay, tell me if I'm wrong. On May and June, I see some violations here. You have 16 and 18 on violations for the court enforcement.
Yes, sir.
And you only said,
Yes,
give me if I'm wrong.
yeah, Commissioner, this is actually coming from the Code Enforcement Office.
Okay.
These are the reports that they submit to these violations. Now, whatever is making it to the court is a different thing. These are the violations that are issued to the residents. However, they go back and they comply with whatever the violation is. Now,
That doesn't go to,
right, it doesn't go to court. The only ones that have gone to court are those 3, which actually there's 2 from April, 1 from June.
So what I'm getting at by what Ms. Enrique is saying is that from the month of January 2019, now, correct me if I'm wrong, from 2019 all the way to June 2019, we have 3. Cool, 3.
Brought in.
Mayor, 1 for May, 1 for June, actually one from April, 1 from May, and then there's 1 from the month of July. So I don't know if you want to add that one for that one's in July, yeah. So actually 2 and 3 for this month.
okay, and for the one for Mr. Garza, also on violation notice, you gave me an 84 and citizen warnings contract also for 309. Had contact with parents or with the people, with the residents. At the 84, none of them went to the,
No, sir, those
the code
violations are,
enforcement
like, Mr. Arjona explained, residents come back and they do comply.
they do comply? Okay.
Any other questions? And now we'll go ahead and move on.
Yes, the next item on item D, presentation on the kids camp, wilderness escape, Mr. Willingham.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commission.
Good afternoon, sir.
I just want to do a small presentation on a kids camp that we have coming up this Saturday over at the wetlands. As y'all know, we've been cleaning that park up. A couple of months ago, we had Earth Day, where the students from PSJ came over and continued that effort. Since then as well, we've had a portable building brought over to the location, and staff's been working on that. We've got electricity up, aircon running. Now we're finishing up a few details on the entrance doors. But this Saturday, we are going to be having a kids camp out there from 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're gonna have food, we're gonna have door prizes, games, small little Bible camp, and really to show off the area, get kids outdoors. And with me here today is Dr. Nuno Rodriguez, and we've partnered with him. Mr. Orlando Cruz, I'm sorry. And we've partnered with them to have this camp, and they're here to answer any questions. They're kind of spearheading it. The Parks and Rec is right there along with the partnering. We'll be supporting it with staff and whatever we can to help out that day. It's a free camp to anybody who'd like to come out and join us Saturday morning. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Cruz and Mr. Rodriguez, and they can answer any questions, more details of what the camp has to offer.
Any questions? First of all, thank you, Mayor and the commissioners, for allowing us to participate and being a part of the community. We're just here to serve and really just want to give back to the community. Thank you.
What exactly would the kids be doing? Like, is there like some kind of little agenda that, you know, the kids are gonna be following, or it's just, are they just gonna go out and just?
No. First in the morning, first thing at 10 o'clock, there's registration. After that, there's going to be a small Bible camp. After that, we're working with the fire department. They're going to be giving a presentation on, the police department's giving a presentation on bullying. The fire department is also going to give a presentation on safety. And then we have a presentation with the recycling department. And then after that, we're just going to have a barbecue and games for the family and kind of introduce the park so that everybody can get familiar with the park and the wetlands. So we'll have a lot of games outside for the family.
Great.
You have an guesstimate of how many participants you're going to have?
Hard to say. We're planning for 150. We hope to get a lot more, but you know, we've announced it through the meals program. We announced it on the 3rd of July event. So it's just hard to tell how many people. We're prepared, you know, we're ready for, we would like 150, but we're ready for more if it happens. So we're ready.
Any other questions? We're good. Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all.
The next item, a proclamation proclaiming and congratulating Angela Huerta, Miss Juan 2019, for winning the South Texas Teen and for entering the competition of Miss Teen Texas pageant. Mr. Carr.
Mayor, Commissioners, again, my name is Adrian Carr. I'm President of the Lions Club here in San Juan, and it is my honor to present to you our Miss San Juan, Angela Huerta, who also happens to be Miss South Texas Teen.
Nice.
Yes, and she'll be representing our city, and she'll also be representing South Texas at the Miss Texas Teen USA in Houston, Texas on November 29th through December 1st. So we want to wish her well. She's done a great job as Miss San Juan. You know, she was out there July 3rd, walking around, meeting the people, and you know, just, you know, saying hi to the kids and everything. And her, along with the rest of the court, Anissa Garcia is here as well. They've done a phenomenal job, and I just want to wish her well. And you know, I know that I'm super proud of her. I know Mr. and Mrs. Huerta are here as well. I want to thank them for always bringing Angela to our events. And again, just want to congratulate her and wish her well. So thank you all. Angela.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for all of the support the city has given me, and to my parents as well. And to Mr. Carr, thank you. My sister Queens, Anissa, and Jackie, who could not make it, but I know I want to thank her too. But yes, I will be representing the city of San Juan and South Texas at the Texas Teen USA, and just hoping for the best.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Well, just go ahead and you can stay there. I'm gonna go ahead and read the proclamation. So at this time, under Angela Yvette Huerta, Miss South Texas Teen, whereas San Juan Community Lions Club is a nonprofit, city-based organization that is formed in February 2016 by a group of individuals interested in giving back to the less fortunate citizens of San Juan. And whereas the club saw the need to establish a beauty pageant so that young queens in San Juan will have an opportunity to become role models, help build character, self-esteem, and to make history in the community. And whereas on October 2018, a new royal court was elected to represent the city of San Juan, where Angela Yvette Huerta was crowned Miss San Juan 2019. And whereas the commission and residents of the city of San Juan want to congratulate Angela Yvette Huerta on the winning of South Texas Crown, and whereas the San Juan community will be represented by Miss San Juan at Miss Teen Texas competition in November 29th in Houston, Texas. And whereas the Queen has a great responsibility to represent not only the city of San Juan, but South Texas region. And whereas the San Juan City Commission is proud to have San Juan native to represent the Rio Grande Valley in a state category of Miss Teen Texas. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Mario Garza, by the power vested in me as mayor of the city of San Juan, along with Mayor Pro Tem Lenny Sanchez, Commissioner Jesus Jesse Ramirez, Commissioner Ernesto Neto Guajardo, and Commissioner Marky Viegas, hereby issue the 9th day of July 2019 this proclamation to Miss South Texas teen Angela Yvette Huerta. Congratulations, ma'am. Yeah, we'll take a picture.
Moving on, Mayor, to public hearing, hold a public hearing to solicit input from interested parties on the city's proposed program amendment to its Urban County Program Year 30, 2017. Mayor Commissioners, this item, as you know, is an amendment to last year's project, which is the 2017. There was a surplus amount of money of $44,701.98. So we're asking your approval so that we can roll it over to the next fiscal year, 2018 project. That'll give us, which was awarded $295,584. With this $44,000, that'll give us approximately $340,285.98. This is for the project on the Urban County for Schiffer Street, King Street, Mayfair, Hampton, and Taylor Street. So if you can allow us to move these monies over, be greatly appreciated. So there's a public hearing that has to be taking place before we can actually do that.
This time, I'm going to go ahead and open this up at 6:39 p.m. Is there anyone here for or against public hearing? Any questions from the member of the commission for Mr. Escobar? Now, the streets that Mr. Arjona named on the record, one of those streets was complete, which is Andrews, right?
Yes,
It's,
part of that's
it's
a
in
ribbon.
that area right off of
Yeah.
Bear Straw, right?
Yeah, and this should go out to bid July 3rd.
July 31st? Any questions for Mr.?
Nothing, those streets are in question, are they gonna finish the whole subdivision, or is it just gonna be partial?
This is the whole
The whole
subdivision.
street, yeah.
Yep. Called Hidalgo East or something.
Yes, exactly. Okay. If not, no. No other questions? I'll go ahead and close this at 6:40 PM. Is there a motion to?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, hold a public hearing for the conditional use permit for the sale of alcohol beverages for off-premise consumption at the proposed Cavazos drive-through located at 4202 North Raul Longoria Road, legally described as Lot 11, Placita Piedra Grande subdivision, as requested by Antonio Cavazos. Mr. Escobar.
This is located on Raul Longoria and South Minnesota Road, subdivision where the Aliens Event Center is located. Yeah, it's right there. It used to be called used to be another convenience store. They did submit the application fee.
Just for clarification, Mr. Juan, we skipped B?
Oh, we did?
¿Sería el infierno? ¿O el infierno?
Yes, I apologize for that. We can go back. Yes, we skip B. We'll come back to that one.
Back to B. Okay, so right now we're on C.
Okay, so it's they did submit the application fee. We also did send the advertisement to the newspaper. We also sent letters to residents within the 200-foot radius as required. Photos and map of the site in your packet. Currently, this is zone general business C2, so it does allow that type of use for alcoholic beverages for off-premise. Their hours are from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Friday, and then Saturdays 12 p.m. To 1 a.m. Those are the weekend hours. As long as they get their TBC license, the occupational permit, they do have adequate parking there in that location. They have to comply with the city noise ordinance as well as security cameras in that location and pay all their alcohol fees to the city. The city doesn't have any issues with that, and the Planning and Zoning Commission also did approve this item as well. And this is time for the public to, if they have any comments, they can do that at this time.
Right now, we're on. We're on C. Okay, at this time, I'll go ahead and open this up at 6:42 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions from the commission for Mr. Escobar? If not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:43 PM. Is there a motion approved?
So move.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you, sir.
Now we're going back to B. Going back to item B, hold a public hearing for a conditional use permit for the sale of alcohol beverages for on-premise consumption at Taqueria El Infiernito located at 205 West Nolana Avenue Suites 1 and 2, legally described as Lot 1, San Juan Plaza subdivision as requested by Little Health Taco LLC.
It's located on Raul Longoria and Nolana Avenue. The Delia's Tamales is on the south side of that. There's actually a new plaza that they built there. It looks really nice. Yeah, they're gonna probably add some more businesses. I think another one, an event center had gone into there, and then there's a few more suites that they can add more businesses. This is
Is it the new plaza they did
yes,
on the
yes, sir.
south side?
Yeah, it's really good. This is submitted by Luis Valencia. They also did submit the application fee. We also did send the advertisement as well as send letters to the public. It's also zone general business C2, and their hours would be from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. This for conditional use permit for on-premise. So there's just an existing restaurant. Now they want to add that to have mixed beverage there.
This time, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up at 6:44 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions from the members of the commission?
My Mayor?
Go ahead, sir.
I did notice that they submitted their application back in March.
Yes.
Why was the delay? What was the delay on?
They probably wanted to hold off
They wanted
on
to
the
hold
yeah.
Oh,
That could be it. But I have to look back to see exactly what happened.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:44 PM. Is there a motion?
So move.
approved? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item D, hold a public hearing for the conditional use permit to allow multifamily residence district uses in the neighborhood commercial district in a property legally described as the west 130 feet of the east 374 feet of the north 300 feet of lot 9, lot 39 Alamo Lane and Sugar Company subdivision located at the southwest corner of FM 495 and Hooper Avenue as requested by Mr. Ramon Guajardo.
This is located on 495 and Hooper Avenue. This is actually a special request. In our zoning ordinance, it allows for apartments in neighborhood commercial district, but they have to get a conditional use permit from the city commission. It's submitted by Ramon Guajardo. They did submit the application fee. We also did send the advertisement to the newspapers. We'll send letters to the 200-foot radius. So right now it's a neighborhood commercial district. When they came in, they wanted to do apartments, so I went back and looked in the zoning ordinance, and it allowed for this exemption, but they just have to get it approved by through the council.
It does allow?
It does allow.
Okay.
Some of the things that they'd have to do was they'd have to plat the property,
Yeah.
that's just a requirement. They'd apply for the building permit, they'd have to meet the parking requirements, drainage. They'd have to get a buffer fence and then get all the permits through TxDOT as well for access through 495. So, you know, it wouldn't be approved just yet. They'd still have to submit the building permit plans and comply with all that.
This time I'll go ahead and open this up at 6:46 p.m. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions from the members of the commission? For Mr. Escobar?
Just to clarify, Mayor, if I
Go
may,
ahead, sir.
the entrance will be to 495, not to the neighborhood.
It possibly can, yeah, through Hooper, because if they do try to request from TxDOT, there's a chance that they might deny it. But they still have to apply for submit the layout, and the city would still have to approve it through the city, through
The
city
property
staff.
next to Yadidas, across the street?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
So as far as the planning and zoning, they approve the change, but not anything else.
Well, it's not a change, it's just a conditional use permit. So let's say 10 years they demolish it, they couldn't build apartments again, they'd have to apply for a conditional use permit. Yeah. They'd have to come, yeah.
That being said, I'll go ahead and close it at 6:47 p.m. Is there a motion approved?
So move.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item E, hold a public hearing for the rezoning request for multifamily residence district to general business district for a property legally described as the west 60 feet of the east, 262.73 feet of the north, 100 feet of the south, 145 feet of lot 8, block 35, Alamo Lane and Stewart Company subdivision, located 512 East Second Street, as requested by Enrique Escalante.
This property is located on the corner of Stewart Road and Second Street. There's currently an existing, I believe it's a car dealership, a small car dealership there. This is submitted by Enrique Escalante. They also did submit the application fee. We also did send letters to the surrounding neighbors within 200-foot radius, as well as a newspaper advertisement. Currently, it's zoned general business C2, the property that they're at, so they want to rezone the property to the west. They purchased it, so they want to extend their business a little bit more. So that zone change would be continuous. There's no issues with that actual zone change. Some of the businesses that are allowed: retail businesses, heavy equipment sales, hotels, retail sale of automotive parts, printing shops, things of that nature. So if anyone in the public has comments, they can do that.
Excuse me?
If anybody has comments in the public, they can do that also.
I'll go ahead and open this up at 6:48. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions from the members of the commission? No? If not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:48 p.m. Is there a motion to approve?
move.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Under appointments, consider the removal and reappointment of board members related to the Planning and Zoning Board. Ms. Cavazos.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. In your packet, you have the list of the current members for the Planning and Zoning Board. The Planning and Zoning Board consists of 7 members serving a 2-year staggered term. As per the Planning and Zoning bylaws, if absent more than 3 consecutive times, the individual shall be automatically dropped from membership. The current members of the board are the following: Irma Castillo, Joshua Benavides, Valerie Cárdenas, Adan Magayan, Eduardo Alanis, Fernando Guajardo, and Juan Alvarado. And we only received 1 application, which I put before you, from Mr. Victor Perez Jr.
Okay. This time I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to remove Juan Alvarado and Joshua Benavides and appoint Lizzie Izaguirre and Mr. Victor Perez. That's my motion. Junior, yeah. It's been a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next one under item B, consider the removal and reappointment of the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council. Ms. Cavazos.
On June 29th, 2018, Mr. Pete Garcia was appointed to the Lower Rio Grande Development Council as a board member. Since Mr. Garcia is no longer, he no longer serves on the City of San Juan City Commission, we're in need of a new representative to serve on the council.
Okay.
They do meet on the second Thursday of every month at noon. And I also put part of the bylaws on there, so it has to be represented by a commissioner, and we also have to have an alternate as a commissioner as well, in order for the vote to count.
So we have to have two commissioners on that?
Correct.
Or the mayor, doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, right now they have you for now, but we do need to, an alternate and somebody appointed.
Okay, so at this time, I'll go ahead and make the motion to appoint Commissioner Marky Villegas, and as the alternate, we'll have Mayor Pro Tem Lenny Sanchez. That's my motion. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item, consider removal and appointment to the Amigos del Valle Board.
On the same note, I'm sorry, on the same note, 13/2018, Mr. Pete Garcia was appointed to the Amigos del Valle Board. Since he no longer serves in the City of San Juan Commission, we also need a representative to serve the board as well as an alternate. Because we didn't have an alternate for this one.
An alternate?
They're asking for one.
An alternate as well? Okay.
Then I'd like to make a motion to Mayor Mario Garza.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Alternate as well, right?
Yes.
And- Yeah, for the alternate, I was gonna amend it, right? For the alternate, I'd like to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Lenny Sanchez.
That's your motion? I'll go ahead and second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D, consider the removal and or appointment of a member of the Hidalgo County Metropolitan Organization Transportation Policy Committee.
Also on the same note, Mr. was appointed as an alternate for the Hidalgo County Metropolitan Organization for the Transportation Policy Committee on December 11, 2018. Since he's no longer part of the commission, we need an alternate appointed as well.
So this is an alternate for the MPO.
Yes.
At this time, I'll go ahead and what?
Make a motion to nominate Coach Guajardo.
That your motion?
Yes, sir. That's my motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Under discussion and possible action, we have discussion and possible action to authorize staff to end negotiation with Robert Kisner for the preparation and maintenance of the risk management plans for the City of San Juan water and wastewater plans, and authorize staff to enter negotiation with the second respondent to RFQ 18-71-08-01 Municipal H2O, and authorize the city manager to execute all related documents and budget amendment as needed. Mr. Salinas.
Mayor, Commissioners, back on August of 2018, we brought to the board two respondents that submitted for the preparation and maintenance of the risk management plans for the water and wastewater treatment plants. Robert Kistner was selected. We did try to negotiate with Robert Kistner. Unfortunately, their price is a bit too high for my liking, so I'm recommending that we cease negotiations with Robert Kistner and move on with our second respondent, which was Municipal H2O. Just to let you know, Robert Kistner submitted a proposal to do an evaluation in the 20K range, and that's just to do the evaluation, not to put the RMP together. Municipal H2O, when they submitted their statement of qualifications, included the cost to prepare the plans, which is $12,900 for the entire process. So I'm recommending that we end negotiations with Robert and move forward with negotiations with Municipal H2O.
Questions for Mr. Salinas at this time? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, discussion and possible action to approve the final pay application in the amount of $36,259.23 from Go Underground for the East San Juan Water Improvement Project, and authorize city manager to execute all related documents and budget amendment as needed. Salinas.
Mayor, Commissioner, again, this is a project that we started last year for the extension of a 12-inch water line at what would be the Retama right-of-way, coming right next to where Pueblo Tires is at. We extended a 12-inch water line there from there all the way to Cesar Chavez and crossed it to loop the system in that area. That project has been completed. We did receive final approval from TxDOT today via email. The engineer is on site if you all have any questions, but I am recommending that we approve the final play application along with the change orders that we did. There were some change orders because of some issues that we had with some irrigation lines, but it did not increase the price of the contract. There were some additional deducts, so it ended up at the same price.
This project has been pending for a while, right?
Yes, sir. And we're still pending the next round where it's going to go north on Cesar Chavez and then back on Sergeant Trevino. Fortunately, that one we need to delay it a little bit until Cesar Chavez is widened because we need to acquire the easements there. And the last thing I want to do is put a water line and then have to remove it again because they're going to widen Cesar Chavez. Yes, it's under design right now. I believe they're still waiting on environmental clearance. It hasn't been completed yet. In fact, I'm hoping to set up a meeting with LNG, the engineer on that project, hopefully next week or the week after next, because there's some issues on some alignments of our existing infrastructure in right-of-way. And unfortunately, the funding that's being provided by TxDOT does not cover the relocation in right-of-way, only in easements. So that's a cost that we're going to have to bear. So we're trying to get a handle of what that number is going to be so we can bring it to commission to let you all know how much it's going to cost. I'm sorry? The last time we talked, they were talking about letting the project out somewhere in 2021, 2022, somewhere in that timeline. But they, like I said, the environmental was supposed to be done at the end of this summer. And then after that, without the environmental clearance, they can't start acquiring the additional right-of-way. So they still have to go through the process of acquire the right-of-way after the environmental. So that's going to take a while, so unfortunately. If y'all have any questions, the engineer is present for the project.
Okay, with that being said, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item C, preliminary and final plat approval of the shops at HEB being a replat of Lot 3, HEB San Juan, Unit 2 subdivision located approximately 600 feet east of Veterans Boulevard along the south side of Frontage Road is requested by Melton and Hunt, Inc.
Mayor Commissioners, this is the development on the property where HEB is located at, on the frontage and Veterans Boulevard. This is submitted by Melton and Hunt. It's a 3-lot expressway corridor district subdivision. There is city water that's going to be extended. It's a 12-inch loop that will be extended. There's also city sewer that is already provided that would also extend in the property. Fire hydrants will be installed. All as easements have been dedicated as well to the 3 lots. For the 3 lots, there's going to be a shared access agreement between the 3 lots so that they have access to IH2. That's just something that they're working out between the 3 property owners, just so that any property won't be landlocked or anything like that. Also, sidewalks will be constructed at the building permit stage, as well as the Hidalgo County Drainage District will also review this as well. To make sure that there's the adequate drainage. So the city's excited about this project. It's going to be a new development, so the city's excited for that. And this is a preliminary and final plat approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission also approved this as well.
Questions for Mr. Escobar? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item D, preliminary and final plat approval of the Black Hills State subdivision being a 28 tract out of Lot 3.
This is Black Hills Estate subdivision. This is located on Cesar Chavez and Sioux Road. It's a 91-lot residential subdivision. City staff and the city engineer did review it. They will extend the 8-inch water line. They're going to loop it on through all the subdivision. There's also city sewer that's existing that they'll also extend as well. Fires requiring 6 fire hydrants. Easements have been dedicated as well. They're also required to put street lighting within the subdivision. Sidewalks will be constructed at the building permit stage, so when they start building homes, they'll be required to add that. Drainage has also been reviewed. They're adding a detention pond as well. The city won't be in charge of maintaining that. They're going to have a homeowners association to maintain that detention area. There is just one issue that they're requesting 2 variances. Our subdivision ordinance requires 60-foot wide lots. They want to do 50-foot wide lots. So, they're not meeting the minimum that the city's asking for. And then also the block lengths, they're required to be 800 feet. After 800 feet, they're supposed to have an interior roadway. Right now, they don't have that, so they're requesting a variance on that as well. The Planning and Zoning Commission didn't approve this, they denied it. Del Khan is here if they have, if they want to make a few comments, they have a presentation.
Have the owners of that land here?
Was that?
Are the owners of that land here?
I believe so, yes, sir. They're here.
You said the planning and zoning denied it?
They denied it, yeah.
For the 60 feet?
60 feet and also the roadway, not having the interior roadway. So if you look at the actual layout, it looks like a U. They're requiring a street in the middle.
What was that again, Mr. Escobar?
You see how the subdivision, it's like a U?
Exactly.
There's supposed to be a roadway going in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's part of the subdivision ordinance requirement.
Like, cutting those 10 feet from each lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's gonna benefit in what way, if you don't mind me asking?
They can get more lots or.
Can you go ahead and explain to us more or less what you guys trying to do?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners.
Afternoon, sir.
The reason why we asked for those two, one is initially when we first obtained that property, I had my engineer here, Mr. Rodriguez, do a feasibility study in the area, okay? We looked at the subdivision that's just west of our property, okay? That subdivision is a subdivision that has literally the same dimensions as what we're currently asking for. And this is a subdivision, I don't remember the name, but it's to the west. What are the names? Azul, don't remember the name of the subdivision. The one that's right in front of IDEA.
Loma Azul, Loma Verde. And all
Exactly. That subdivision is the one that we're talking about. That subdivision has 50-foot lots. And I'll be very honest with you, the reason why we're looking at 50-foot lots is because the clientele that we're targeting, okay? I'm a product of San Juan. I live in San Juan, and and we've been building small 3-bedroom homes in the area, okay? And we've been targeting those individuals, that starter family class, and we want to attract them. And in order for us, when we looked at our cost analysis, in order for us to be able to meet that requirement or to be able to target that group, we had to shorten our lots somewhat, okay? Because if we widen them, our cost is going to be just way too much. Now our target is going to be that target that we're going to target those individuals that are now after that $200,000 home, and that's not what we're after. We're targeting those individuals that are starting with a new family, that are tired of paying rent, that want the opportunity to own, okay? So we're targeting those individuals that are going to be purchasing homes in the $110,000 to $130,000 price range.
What would be the living space on these homes?
The homes that I've been building on these homes, and one of the things that this property, if you look at the overall dimensions of this property, city ordinance has 2 requirements. One, that we comply with the 60-foot lots, and 2 is that we comply with the 6,000 square foot lot as well. Well, because of the dimensions of the lot, of the area, we are complying with the 6,000 square foot dimension because our lots will be 50 by 140. Okay? That is what makes sense for that price point. And that's the reason why we're requesting those variances. The second variance that we requested is literally just looking at the subdivision that's just west of us, that subdivision, that Loma Linda, that,
That subdivision next to each other?
no, there's property in between, but they're really close to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and that second variance that we requested for the 800-foot block is like I said, again, going back to the cost, okay, to the cost of the development in itself. This subdivision, we had requested a couple of years back. We rezoned the first 10 acres, which is the ones on the west side. We had rezoned those to multifamily because that was the initial plan. However, we encountered some obstacles back then by, the two obstacles that we encountered was the fire department was requesting, a second access, okay? And they were also, the second issue was the water looping system. The opportunity came about and we acquired the property, the 10 acres right next door on the east side. And now that allows this subdivision to give us those two things that were, those obstacles that were encountered back then. And those are the reasons why we're asking for those two variances. We're looking right now at 91 lots. 91 lots.
One at 50 feet,
At 50 feet by 140, correct.
and at 60 would be,
If we were to bring it down to 60 and we would be looking at reducing it by 13 lots, which would put us at 78.
talking about 110,000 home, I mean, $110,000 home, the value, more or less.
In the average,
In the
yes,
average of that.
yes. Mhm. I know that we wished everybody could afford that 200,000 plus home, but unfortunately, young adults that are starting off, and like I said, there's a lot of new construction going on business-wise here in the city. But one of the things that I've noticed is that these people come and work in the city of San Juan, but then they go back elsewhere and they spend their money elsewhere. We're not providing them enough opportunities to stay here.
We usually gonna have, on those 50 lots, you still has a variance of what, 6 feet for both sides?
Correct.
6 on either side?
Mhm.
So we're talking about about a 38
Correct.
home by a little bit longer.
Which is perfect for the size of the house that he intends.
Well, yeah, of course.
Is that an annex subdivision?
I guess, I mean, doing the math and kind of just estimating on the tax roll on the property tax. I mean, it's a difference from 90 to 71 homes, you know. But I guess with that being said, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been second. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on item E, discussion and possible action to authorize city manager to solicit bid for water and waste supply, chemicals, sludge disposal, lab services, and annual calibration services. Mr. Salinas?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. It's that time of year for us to go out for bids for the supply of water, chemicals, wastewater chemicals, sludge disposal services, and electrical services. Our current contracts were put out for bid back in 2017, and we had the option to extend them for 2 years. That ends at the end of September, so I'm requesting authorization to go ahead and solicit for bids for all these products and bring them back to you before the end of August, so we have contracts approved by October 1st.
Questions for Mr. Salinas? Is there a motion to approve? Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We already did A, right? B now.
Next item, discussion and action under B. Is that where we are? Yes. Discussion and action to approve the budget program amendment for the Hidalgo County Urban Program, year 30, 2017, as we discussed previously.
Okay.
Same thing, Mr.
Yeah,
Gomez?
it's the same thing.
Motion to approve?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, consider resolution to approve the water line access agreement between the North Alamo Water Supply Corporation and Hidalgo County and the City of San Juan. Mr. Escobar.
Mayor Commission, this is just an agreement with North Alamo Water Supply Corporation, basically for fire protection, in case the city has to use that. That's the agreement, that's what it's for.
Okay.
And
That
it's,
being
it's
said-
with the Hidalgo Community Center.
Is there a motion approved? So moved. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Consider resolution to approve water line access agreement between the North Alamo Water Supply Corporation, Gerardo and Blanca Garza, and the City of San Juan.
This is for Gargo subdivision. This was approved on January the 8th. It's a commercial building, and they're also required to have this agreement with the city and North Alamo Water Supply, and it's also for fire protection.
Is there a motion to approve? Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Under consent agenda, we have considered second final reading for the ordinance of the plan for the City of San Juan, envision in our future, and meeting minutes for November the 13th, 2018, February the 26th, 2019.
This time, is there anything that we need to pull out or amend under consent agenda? If not, is there a motion approved? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under executive session, the San Juan City Commission will convene executive session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Vernon, Texas Statutes and Codes Annotated Government Code 551, pursuant to section 551.074, personal matter, discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, dismissal, public officer, employee, Judge J. Zambrano.
At this time, is there a motion to go into executive session? Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will be going to executive session at 7:12 p.m. We are back from executive session at 7:47 p.m. Is there a motion to reconvene? Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Back on.
I'd like to make a motion to redesignate the judgeship of the, do I state the name? Sorry.
Yeah.
Of Jorge Zambrano.
That's a motion?
Motion, sir.
Is there a second? Second. There's been a motion and second. All those in, go ahead, sir.
Before we take the vote, based on the information that we received today, it does show that we have not generated enough funding for the third judge's position that we were hoping to put into effect. Did we give it enough time? I don't think so, but based on the numbers again, I agree with
Yes.
the recommendation that Mayor Pro Tem has submitted. So with that said, we can go ahead and take the vote.
And I'd just like to state on the record that back at the time when this issue was brought up to this commission, I asked the members of the commission to gauge this matter going into the new budget season, which is coming up here in the next month or two, to see if the numbers would increase or there would be justification to have a third judge. Obviously, tonight, this evening, shows that these numbers do not show at all. Based on the discussion with Mrs. Enriquez, she mentioned that there was only 3 code enforcement violations. 2 of them are pending, 1 was dismissed, if I'm, right. But I'd just like to state that on the record. You have anything to say, Mr. Guajardo?
No, sir.
If not,
Again, back to what was said, based on the time that the code enforcement officer has been in place and the judge, which has been 3 months.
there's been a motion by Lenny Sanchez, second by Commissioner Marky Villegas. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to
So move.
adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 7:50 p.m.